Hey, it's Matt O'Neill here today with top agent Shane Sperling.
How's it going, Matt?
Hey Shane, great to have you here today. We're talking about one of my favorite topics, why sometimes good people end up in a contract with a total jerk. I'm sure you've been there before.
Yeah, it definitely happens. Yeah.
Okay, so what we want to talk about today is why does it happen, and then what you're going to help us with is how to avoid getting into that conflict situation if you are getting into a contract. So,
of course.
Let's start out first. Why do you think that a real estate contract would make two people feel adversarial towards each other?
I think one of the most basic things is that you have a lot of people who don't know the world of negotiating and contracts. They don't do this every day. If you're used to negotiating with buying maybe cars is about the only thing that you can think of that people actually negotiate in, maybe eBay, but that's really auction more stuff.
Yeah.
So people who have no experience in it are trying to negotiate against each other or with each other, and they think that they need to do something they see on like a TV show.
And they might take offense.
And it causes people to have offenses. Exactly.
Yeah, so I think of myself, and there's always this pride of ownership. I've raised my kids in this house.
Yeah.
This is the place we've had Christmas. I have all these memories, and now you want to come in and offer me less than full price.
Yeah.
That's offensive to me. This house is perfect the way it is.
Yeah, that carpet that you as a buyer want the seller to rip out, that might be the carpet that the seller took their baby pictures on and have done Christmas morning there, and so they may get upset and look like a jerk, and in reality it might be that they just have their feelings hurt a little bit. And,
because they may be feeling a little bit less appreciated. Yeah. Now, in the buyer's shoes, the buyer's saying, hey, the carpet has stains. The roof has got a couple, I can see some shingle issues. I can see some updating that hasn't been done. The money needs to be put into this house, and I want to raise my family here.
Exactly.
And yet this house needs some work. So that's
they're envisioning Christmas morning there.
Yeah, envisioning Christmas morning in the way that they want. So that's why their offer might come in where it is. Yeah. And when the seller responds without some compromise and some win-win, the buyer could be offended that they're not being respected for the offer they're making too, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Now, how about that hardcore negotiator that's like, I don't want win-win, I want win-lose. Yeah. And I don't want empathy, I just want the best thing I can get in my pocket. How does that work out for them usually?
It usually doesn't work out well because they usually end up having where they take a person who maybe one of the best examples I can give is when people are buying cars, again, in the world of negotiations, car sales is, aside from buying a house, is one of the only things left. There's a reason CarMax is so popular today, because people don't like negotiating. They just really don't. And so you take the 99% of the people who just don't want to negotiate, and you have that one person who loves to negotiate. He takes a person who might have been willing to be fair and look for ways to help the other person. He gets their guns cocked, and they're looking to have a fight now who isn't used to fighting.
And then they respond back at full price.
Full price, yeah.
And they say, I won't do any of your repairs. You no longer are playing fair. I was willing to play fair and give some, and then both sides end up walking away typically when you have that person that doesn't want to seek a win-win.
And it hurts both of them because the buyer now spends money on inspections, on appraisals, and it still could fall apart. The seller has taken out the market for a few weeks or however long, and it just, if the more you do of that kind of stuff, the more it's just, there's only so much people can take, and the more you can look for those wins in it, the better for people.
So as an agent or with your clients, how do you keep them out of that win-lose scenario and get everybody into a win-win scenario? Because truly it is a win. The seller sells their house to somebody that they like. The buyer buys a house from somebody that they like. The buyer has the house that they want to raise their family. The seller now has the money to move and do the next thing. So win-win is the way. How do you get your clients into that situation?
I think a big part of it really is, for one, you mentioned the other agent. The other agent is a really big part of it. Having somebody that you can collaborate with that is looking out for ways. Obviously everybody knows they're working for the other party. I'm working for my party, with our buyer or seller agent. But in the end, being able to talk through things and filter how we say things. The seller might tell me, F this, F that, they're terrible people. But in the middle of it, they're saying, I have so much I can give and so much I can take, and this is my reasons for why, and this is what I want you to express. And I can say it in a way that is a little bit nicer,
Yeah.
and
you
gets
take the cuss words
you
out.
take the cuss words out
Yeah.
and usually be able to make a deal with it.
So filtering out the emotion while still achieving the objective that they want, negotiating the items that they want without their emotion. You know, that's interesting because we were talking about for sale by owners.
Yeah.
And for sale by owners don't have that skilled negotiator, skilled buffer in you. What have you seen? Because I know you've brought contracts to for sale by owners before.
Well, the irony on it is that when somebody is a for sale by owner, they typically are people who are extremely skilled in negotiating. And that could oftentimes be, I mean, just like we talked about the insurance agent and the divorce agent. If you are extremely skilled in negotiating, trying to negotiate with somebody who's not at a huge dollar volume, I mean, these are $500,000, $1 million sales sometimes, multi-million, it just tends to fall apart when you don't have somebody who can filter the emotions.
So it's almost like, as a buyer, you want to push the envelope as low as you can without offense.
Exactly.
And as a seller, you would want to counter as high as you could while looking like you're playing fair.
Yeah.
And it takes a skilled negotiator to know what is that line, how far can I push it to serve my client the best without pushing it over the edge.
Yeah, sometimes it's data that you can provide. It's letting people know if I'm going to, in the case of a, say, repair addendum, I find that there are things that just from experience, I know certain things cost a lot more money than other items.
Yeah.
And the average person doesn't know. The average agent doesn't know. You have to do a lot of sales to figure out how much things cost. And sometimes people ask for things as a buyer or as a seller say no to things without, I mean, it might be a $10 fix. Why not say yes to it, even if it's not fair?
So it gives them a win.
Give them a win.
For $10.
Yeah, and there might be other things that's like, I mean, like a vapor barrier. It might be really expensive. It might be thousands of dollars or something like that the buyer, when they asked for it, might have thought, oh, it's just a sheet of plastic. It's not just a sheet of plastic. It takes a lot of money to have those things installed. And so there are ways to be able to taper those kind of things to make people feel like you're not being a jerk. And you can say yes to all the little $10 items, $20 items, and no to the huge thing that they didn't think they asked for. Yeah,
well, Shane, it's been enlightening. What I loved, I'm just going to hit on this, is you said it's survival. And it's true. People bring the claws out when they think that you're messing with the money that I need for my family to survive. They truly are. The jerk comes out when you're fighting for your life, and people don't realize that there's so much security tied up in the money in this house that they truly are fighting for their life. That's why that jerk comes out. People are good people. And if you got a skilled negotiator like Shane, who knows how to bring empathy, knows how to bring win-win, knows how to bring creative solutions, you can keep the jerk out of it, and you can get to a win-win and have a great transaction. So you need to reach him as Shane Sperling. And Shane, thanks so much.
Thank you, Matt.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.